And good morning. Welcome to another episode of the Economy of Transformation. I am your coach, I am your advocate, zealist, or you can refer to me as Velma. So, this morning is a topic that really hits home, right? And so, I'm going to talk about family support after unexpected trauma. And this is for families that are grieving. This is for parents. This is for widows. This is for youth. This is for caregivers. This is for the faith based and the community listeners. And I want you guys to honestly listen to me this morning about um, creating a safe space. So I'm going to talk about creating safe spaces for my audience this morning. So I just actually experienced another loss in my family. And this is a month where family it's a very sensitive topic, and family is really important during this time, and it's supposed to be a season of joy, but for many families it arrives wrapped in grief. So today's episode is for the mothers that's missing a child, the children that are missing a parent, the families who've experienced a sudden loss, whether it's violence, illness, or an unexpected trauma, this year. I want you to understand that you are not alone. The thing about trauma is that we're not prepared for it. And today is totally, totally, totally a sensitive topic, and it is especially designed for you. So I want to talk about sudden loss, right? Sudden loss, it brings shock, it brings numbness, it can turn into anger, it can turn into guilt. And so the thing about it is there's a pressure to be festive during this time and during this season. And we often have unexpected trauma during this time to families. And I want my audience to understand that trauma actually disrupts during this season, especially because our senses are heightened. So it disrupts our memory. It disrupts our sleep. It attacks our emotional safety. It attacks our relationships. And then within our family units, the family roles, family relationships, and things of that sort. They just change overnight. And so I'll say this, that children become, they either become silent or they'll become hyper alert. So you're going to hear me talk about many different dynamics, but stick with me, okay? Follow me. Parents in this season, a lot of times they feel helpless, especially if they're a single mom and they feel unsupported. They're a teen mom feeling unsupported. Grandparents sometimes can become their anchor. And so the holidays actually, it intensifies grief. And I didn't understand that holidays intensifies grief until I lost my parents. So your traditions start to feel empty, your loved one's absence, it grows louder. There's a financial strain. It increases during this time of the season because of the peer pressures and things of that sort that we have in our country. So I want you all to understand that grief, it doesn't follow the calendar. It doesn't. And that's the one thing that I have to understand, that grief doesn't follow a calendar. In trauma, it doesn't pause for the holidays. And we have to understand that these are some things that we just have to prepare for. How families, should be more supportive during this time of year. It can, lower the emotional expectations that we have, during this time of the year. And so it's okay if this Christmas doesn't look like last year, if it doesn't look like 5 years ago. You know, you can actually, write down or name some things that are missing. You can actually say their name. You can light a candle, in their memory. Say a small prayer for yourself, most definitely. Um, you can leave a chair open if you like. And these are some things that people do as a symbolic remembrance, or for their healing. But for me, prayer is everything for me. To each his own, and people do different things. We create new traditions, and it's okay, to create new traditions. With memory ornaments, putting that picture on an ornament and hanging it on a tree, writing healing letters. You can volunteer, which is a really good thing to do, to volunteer in the honor of your lost loved one, which is one of the things that just, it lightens my heart to volunteer and to help others. You also, too, should watch for the trauma responses, in your children. The clinginess, there's anger, or sometimes there can even be, like withdrawal. You'll see these different, emotions like regression, bedwetting, baby talk, etc., things like that. These are just some of the triggers and some of the things that happen, during, this time of year. And I'm just, talking about a lot of different things, different dynamics that we face or we, have during this time. So my encouragement for the caregivers, for the parents, for the children, and I'm speaking directly to those that are struggling right now. I feel your pain, and I want you to know that you don't have to be strong for every moment. You only have to be present, and that's what matters most. You're not failing because you're tired. Survival is success right now. That's what survival is. It's I want you to know it's okay not to be okay. You know, it's okay, if the house is quiet, because that means that there's a lot of peace around you at that particular moment, right? It's okay, that the tree may seem like it's bare, that gifts are few, and your heart feels heavy. It's okay to be okay. Like right now, my tree is not up. I didn't even put my tree up this year. Don't ask me why. I don't know why. I just didn't feel like it. I didn't feel like putting a tree up this year. And so I want you to know and to understand that God is the closest to the brokenhearted, not the perfect. Um, the one thing I've always tried to do is, I am is a perfectionist at heart. I try to perfect every little thing that I do. I am my greatest critic. And so for affirmations, I want to talk to you because right now this is a moment for healing. And I want to give you like 30-second grounding exercises, for you, for your family. And I want you to inhale. I want you to inhale for a few seconds, and then I want you to exhale 3 times. And I want you to repeat this 3 times. I want you to think about all the good memories, when you're inhaling, and then push out all the bad when you're exhaling. Understand that even in loss, I'm still held. Even in sorrow, I am still loved. And you say this to yourself. Even in December, hope still lives. It is still alive. And this is just a gentle call to action in my closing. If today's episode gave you even one breath of peace, share it with someone who's hurting, quietly this season. This is a complete call to action. And if you would like to contact me, you can reach me on Instagram at vbex41. Also, too, I advise you to join a December grief support circle. If you don't have one, you can reach out to friends. You can reach out in your local community, to your church, wherever you find that support at. And I want you to write one memory tonight. Light a candle. That's the one thing that I do. I love candles from Bath and Body Works. One of my favorite candles is like ginger, caramel. I love those scents and those smells. It gives me such warm memories. Also, too, you can publish your, you know, you can actually use Canva to publish, your journal, your writing, your healing, your prompts, your memories, and things of that sort. Use your resources. And if you don't have any resources, you can visit my Ko-fi page, and I will most definitely put some resources out there for you. Um, when you're helping children to survive, when you're helping a loved one to survive, you have to understand that just you being there, a lot of times just you showing up is more important than anything, any kind of gift, any kind of tangible thing that you can give to someone. When you're entering into a new year without a loved one, please remember that you are not alone. You're never alone. The Word of God declares that I will never leave or forsake you. You were born for more. Again, this is your girl, Velma, your coach, your advocate. And I want you to understand that this is a holiday series to let you know that in spite of the trauma, and in spite of the loss, in spite of the grief, that you are born for more. There is resilience in the storm. Also, too, I want you to know that if you like, um, I can also create a journal for you. And as a matter of fact, I am going to create a journal, and I'm going to submit like a brief. And when I say a very brief, I'm going to submit like a very brief self-empowerment toolkit for the month of December, for those that are grieving, for those that are suffering loss during this season. I want you to be encouraged. I want you to feel renewed. I want you to feel strengthened. And I want you to feel re-strengthened in this season and in this hour. Please understand, I want you to stay focused, stay grounded, stay rooted, keep moving, march forward, and above everything, I want you to continue. This is your girl, Velma, Zealist. Peace. Have an awesome month.